Hello, namaskar, and welcome to StudyIQ. I am Prashant Mawani. I hope you all are doing good. I have a special topic for you guys today. It's called Chinese Way of Colonization. I'm sure we are aware about BRI, Belt and Road Initiative. It's a vision of China to connect with the two-thirds of world's population via this roadway and this waterway. Today I'm going to take you through some dark realities of this Belt and Road Initiative of China. We'll start our discussion with this country that is called Zambia. Now, Zambia is a country that was famous for copper. There was a time when Zambia was, producing huge amount of copper for African market, for local market, as well as for international market. But things started, took a 180-degree turn back in 2011, because when the copper market was doing well, or the prices of copper were booming in international market, this Zambian economy was booming as well at the same time because of its exports and other things. But a big mistake that Zambia did was it kept all its eggs in one basket. So when after 2011, when the prices started falling down, and at the same time when money was coming in, at that point of time Zambia was investing this money, or injecting, or you can say spending this money in many unnecessary infrastructure projects as well. Huge mammoth projects were run in Zambia. IMF already warned Zambia that you are conducting a little bit of mistake here. You should be a bit careful the way you are spending money, but Zambia was not ready to listen to IMF. But after this 2011, as I told you, there was a 180-degree turn. Things were not in favor of Zambia anymore, and after a couple of years, Zambia realized that all this money that was being injected in this infrastructure project, or the money that is been taken away by infrastructure project, has created a sort of debt situation for Zambia. So Zambia knocked the doors of this IMF, and IMF went through all this information and everything. They had this negotiation, and finally IMF decided that we are not going to give you a bailout because you are not that serious enough as far as your debt situation is concerned. So all these things took place in Zambia, and this was a big opportunity for this country called Dragon, or China. China started, and that's what China is doing. If a particular country is not performing well, or if a country is in debt, then China will come in and China will throw some money around. This will bring a cheer on the face of politicians and everyone. And after a couple of years, we realized that things are not that good as they were promised. It was a big dream that was going to fail. Something similar happened with Zambia. Now, at present, 25 to 33% of Zambia's external debt is owned by China. Can you believe this thing? And China is, what it does is it will take over to your most precious thing, like ZESCO, a state power utility company. The ownership has been established, means China has established its ownership over this ZESCO company. So it's going to make money for a very long period of time now. Something similar is observed in other parts of the world as well, like Djibouti. It started doing free trade zone and started injecting financing multi-purpose sport projects and other things, railway lines and gas lines and other things, international airports, and in return it built here this first overseas naval base. Right, where is Djibouti? Djibouti is here, as you can see, the small tiny country. Let me zoom it up for you, it will help you. So here you can see, right, this is a small country. Here you have Red Sea. Of course, this is just African continent, but over here somewhere, right? Let me use my laser pen to. So here you find all this portion here. You have West Asia. Then here you have Mediterranean Sea, as you can see. So Suez Canal connecting Red Sea with Mediterranean. So Djibouti is located at a very strategic place. If you have this thing in your control, or if you have this naval base here or military base here, then just in case if things are not right in your favor, then you can create a sort of pressure on the whole world if you have control in this part of the world. So China is here now, and it's not just China. We find other countries are here. We'll talk about it later on. Then we have some other examples. Example coming from Congo. And this is a very interesting example that the president of Congo, visited Beijing just to obtain a precise picture of their indebtedness. Can you believe this thing? The money that China has created roads here and so many other things. But now even the president is not sure how much they owe to China. You have Deputy Governor of Central Bank of Nigeria. He has written a letter and he has said that now, article basically, and now he is, saying this thing, and this is very right. He is saying that this little prince, this tiny font, so in a very tiny size, lines and terms and conditions are written on your contracts and other things. So he said that all those things were not visible, but now this little prints are quite visible. And the way they are visible is because, or the reason why they are visible is because this big domestic assets, right, they are being taken away by China. All those things were collateral, and now China is taking over. So it's a matter of concern for this country as well, Nigeria. And then you have other examples like Sri Lanka is there. You have Malaysia recently cancelled 2 Chinese projects out of fear of this debt trap. We have gone through or talked about reports coming from this China-Pakistan economic corridor as well. There are other countries, they are a bit careful, but still, there are countries out there, they are, easily falling in trap of this BRI. And because of this naval base in Djibouti, things are getting bit, tense in here, because you have USA's naval base is there in Djibouti. You have UK, you have France naval base. So all these countries are coming here, and it's creating a sort of pressure, too much of congestion as far as this military base is concerned. So that's everything in today's discussion. I'm sure you have got a good understanding of dark side of Belt and Road Initiative. With this, I would like to introduce all of you to our pen drive and tablet courses for various different exams. We have different pen drive and tablet courses. To find out more about it, check out StudyIQ.com, and want to download the PDF of today's lecture, get it from my FB page and Twitter handle. Now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi was in Gujarat, and a series of developmental projects were launched by him. The first one is Anjar Mundra Port Gas Transmission Project. So Anjar and Mundra being connected with this gas transmission, so this is going to change the you can say economic phase of this district called Kutch. Kutch is I think, if I'm not wrong, second largest district of our country. And Kutch, I'm sure this white desert that we have, you find it in Kutch in Gujarat, and it's a beautiful place, of course, but as far as development is concerned, it is still lagging. You have big ports and things, but still overall development is a bit missing there. So with the help of this gas pipeline and other things, it will provide opportunities for so many different sectors. Now let me give you one example. We have talked about it earlier on as well, but before asking you a question, let me remind you and tell you that access to energy is very basic, very, very basic. If you want to develop your state, or if you want to develop your town or your family, you need to have access to, as an individual as well. If you don't have access to electricity, if you don't have access to motorcycles and vehicles or any sort of transportation, then it becomes impossible for you to progress. Things will not come to you. You won't be able to reach to other things. So for that, it's very important that we have access to energy to run our business, to run our factories, for tourism purpose, to run your hotels and everything. You have to have access to energy, and providing this access, via pipeline or via other ways, if we are supplying this, if we are creating permanent, you can say, supply chain, then that's going to be a game changer for any region. So that's what we believe will happen with Kutch as well. Then you have another line that is called Palanpur Pali Badmer Gas Pipeline Project that will provide gas to Rajasthan. From Gujarat, gas will be provided to Rajasthan. So it's going to bring development for the state of Rajasthan as well, which is sharing its border with Gujarat, of course. And Prime Minister also talked about this thing, and this is the most important statement that he talked about, that Vikas ke mool mein urja anivarya. That means for development, energy is a very basic thing. Apart from that, he also talked about supplying LNG to Punjab for the production of urea. And dear friends, he also talked about, he gave this very good example here that in last 60 years, Government of India supplied, or this gas connections were given to 13 crore people, but in last 4 years, Government of India has achieved 10 crore new LPG gas connections. So that's a big achievement, of course. And he also promised that there will not be even a single family that will not have access to this gas connection. He talked about Saubhagya Yojana and what it is all about. And he also talked about this 18,000 villages were provided with electricity. Now, we have to understand here that this 18,000 villages were connected with electricity. That means now if you want electricity, then it is available. Your village, is you have this supply coming to your village somewhere here, say for example. Now if you want, then electricity can be provided to various different houses. So electrifying a village is a different scheme, and Saubhagya Yojana is targeting individual households, door to door. And government will come at your door and will ask you if you want. Now of course it is a voluntary thing, but you have many access. You don't have to pay connection fee and other things if you are below poverty line and things like that. So it's going to be a win-win. And just imagine a family that is not having access to electricity is still living in 18th century world, isn't it? Moving on to another item, dear friends, Mann Ki Baat is a very important program. Here Prime Minister Narendra Modi interacts with us as a Prime Minister of India and not as a politician of BJP party. So the points that you find here, the things that he talks about is for the whole nation, for India. So I will highly recommend you guys to follow it, because you will find so many important points. You will come to know what are the things that central government or government of India is worried about, or what are the things that are you can say important for central India. You will directly come across important points. So Prime Minister talked about India. He basically was talking about security, and he said that we are committed to peace. So he was talking about this recent movement of Pakistan. He said that we are committed to peace, but not at the cost of self-respect and sovereignty, right? Both these things are very dear to us. He also talked about 2 world wars and India's contribution, right? We were not directly involved in any way, but then as well 1 lakh Indian soldiers, right, they sacrificed their lives to maintain peace in the world. He also recalled Battle of Haifa in Israel, and we have a very good you can say relationship with Israel, and Haifa is certainly you can say a milestone that is connecting both these countries together. We have Mysore, Hyderabad and Jodhpur Lancers, and their statues are there. We call it Haifa Chowk. It is in Delhi, celebrating this valor and courage of our Mysore, Hyderabad and Jodhpur Lancers. And with this, dear friends, we have a village in our country called Punsari. Punsari is a very you can say outstanding village, right? And you know that we are celebrating this Mahatma Gandhi International Sanitation Convention going on from 29th September till 2nd, that is tomorrow. And let me tell you, tomorrow is a national holiday, so there will not be any PIB analysis video tomorrow. So the next delivery will be on 3rd of October, and this applies to all national, when we have this national offs or national day off, then on Sundays and national day offs we are not provided with this PIB analysis, right? So Mahatma Gandhi International Sanitation Convention is celebrated, and we have some 100 plus delegations. They are here in our country from 60 different countries. They are here in our India country, and this delegates were taken to this Punsari village, that is a village in Sabarkantha district of Gujarat. And this village is outstanding because you find free internal free of cost bus service in this tiny village. And then you have their dedicated website, clean and mineral containing drinking water supply, RO plant is there, so every house is having access to clean drinking water, zero tax dues, CCTV network, digital library. Can you believe this thing? So all these things in a tiny village, and this is what a village should be in 21st century India. And if we just imagine, if we have this sort of villages, or all villages, all 650,000 plus villages that we have in our country, if we have this sort of high-tech villages, then just imagine the quality of life that we will have, you know. So let's hope that, of course, this is a very, you can say, this village is a sort of lighthouse for other villages, and other villages should think about it and should implement the things that we find in this Punsari village. With this, dear friends, a small update. Uzbekistan's president is here in our country. Now we will wait and watch. We talked about Uzbekistan a couple of weeks ago when Susma Swaraj ji was there. I provided you with maps and everything. So just to refresh all those things that we have discussed, and in near future, maybe on 3rd October, we'll get some updates on this thing, MOU signed and other areas of cooperation and things like that. And last item that I have for you guys is about India and USA's joint military exercise called Exercise Yudh Abhyas. It started back in 2004. This was 14th version that took place here in our country. So every time, next will be in USA, then again in India. So that's how it goes on. And this exercise basically, you know, creates this necessary bond, or it works like a glue, you know, between both this uniform services of USA, particularly Army of USA and Army of India, so that just in case if we have to work together, then we can. So it's a very good exercise, and at the same time it strengthens our relationship, a bilateral relationship with USA. So that's everything in today's discussion, dear friends. Thank you very much for listening. Do share this lecture with other students, and I will see you all on 3rd of October. Jai Hind.